If we know something that needs to be done, we need to do it and not delay. Because if we put off doing something too long, we may find ourselves getting caught up in sin, because good intentions don't get anything done. A great example of this comes from the plot that Joseph's brothers came up with to kill him. However, Reuben, who was the oldest brother, knew that it would be wrong for his brothers to kill Joseph. So he came up with this rescue plan. Instead of shedding his blood, he told them to throw him down in a deep pit and leave him there. Of course, Reuben was going to sneak back and get him out of the pit later. But slave traders came along, and the brothers decided to sell Joseph into slavery without Reuben knowing. What happened next is found in Genesis 37 and verse number 29. Then Reuben returned to the pit, and indeed Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his clothes. And he returned to his brothers and said, "The lad is no more, and where shall I go?" So they took Joseph's tunic, killed a kid of the goat, and dipped the tunic in the blood. Then they sent the tunic of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, "We have found this. Do you know whether it is your son's tunic or not?" And he recognized it and said, "It's my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him. Without doubt, Joseph is torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted, and said, "For I shall go down into the grave to my son in mourning." Thus his father wept for him. Reuben had good intentions, but his slow reaction led to Joseph being sold into slavery. Instead of telling his father the truth or trying to correct the wrong, he joined in the lie with his brothers that Joseph was dead. Now, he was not there when Joseph was sold into slavery, but he was just as guilty of sin because he joined in this lie. The guilt of doing this haunted him for the rest of his life, as we read in Genesis 42, verse number 21. Then they said to one another, "We are truly guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not hear. Therefore this distress has come upon us." And Reuben answered them, saying, "Did I not speak to you, saying, 'Do not sin against the boy,' and you would not listen? Therefore, behold, his blood is now required of us." This example shows what happens when we fail to do what is right at the right time, because it can cause us to be partakers of an evil deed. So when we know that evil is being taught or practiced, we must be bold and courageous and take a stand for God's truth.